Hi, it's Mark from Training Spark. In this video, we're taking a look at LearnDash Course Grid. Now, LearnDash Course Grid, in its very basic form, is just a means of listing the LearnDash courses in your platform. And it can be inserted into any page or post, and in its most basic format looks like something like this. The Course Grid does cause some confusion for some people because there are lots of different ways to set up course grids, and there's Course Grid version 1 and Course Grid version 2, and there's also a Course Grid add-on that you can install. So what we wanted to do was just try and help make sense of some of that and talk about where it's come from and what you can do with it these days. So what I have here is the version 1.0 type of course grid that you might have if you've got an old LearnDash platform that you haven't updated for a while. And this is how things have been for quite a long time. This is built into the LearnDash plugin, so you don't have to have any add-ons to show something like this. All we've got here is a WordPress page, and if I edit the page, what we'll see is we've got a shortcode here called LD_course_list. And if we just go back to the preview of that, all we do is see a list of the courses. But there are a few things we can do here. So if I just head to the WordPress dashboard, hover over LearnDash LMS, and then go to courses, and then shortcodes. Shortcodes used to be listed here, but what they've done is created a dedicated website page for this. And what this does is it shows you what you can do with the course list shortcode. And this has been around for a long time, so you might be able to limit the number of courses that are shown here, for example. So if you have 200 courses but you want to show 10, then there are certain shortcode parameters you can use here. So num equals 10, which you would put in the shortcode here. So if I put num equals 2, for example, and update, what we should find is that list goes from 3 to 2 with some pagination underneath it. So this is the old style of the shortcode, but what we can do as well as this is add it in a slightly different way. So if we just search for LearnDash here as a Gutenberg block, there's also the LearnDash course list here, which will show it in a more visual way with some of these settings down the right hand side here. So rather than having to add things via shortcode parameters, if you're using Gutenberg, you might be able to use something like this to make things a bit easier, so it's more visual and you can see what you're doing rather than having to type all of these. So what we can do is limit it so that only 3 courses are shown, for example, and select which ones actually appear in this list, and then save it. And you can change things like the way things are ordered, if thumbnails are shown, restrict them by category, and things like that. So, as I mentioned previously, this is built into the main LearnDash plugin. You don't need any add-ons to do anything like this. So what we'll see here, if I refresh this, is 2 sets of the course list, but these are the one was added using a Gutenberg block and one was added using a shortcode. What I'm going to do now is show you what happens if we install this LearnDash Course Grid add-on. And this is free from LearnDash. So what you do is you head to LearnDash LMS and then add-ons. And we'll just scroll down and find the LearnDash Course Grid add-on. And what we're going to do is install it. And once it's installed, we can activate it by clicking on this plug icon. Now watch what happens here. If I refresh it, now we've got that add-on installed, we see a slightly more updated and modern style of showing this list. And if we refresh the page where we're editing that, we'll see that we can control a bit more here around how that's displayed. You can limit the number of columns, so if you wanted to show 4 columns, for example, you could do, and these slim down. So there are a few different things that you can do now that we've got this here. This shortcode version of doing it stays largely the same, but you can still use the parameters here. But just by installing that add-on, we've now enhanced the way this is displayed. So that's what this add-on does. It sort of gives you a bit more control and some more visually appealing ways of showing the course grid. So recently, what LearnDash did was replace this old version 1.0 of the course grid with a newer version. So if I just add a new block here and now search for LearnDash Course Grid. So this is possibly where some of the confusion comes from. You have LearnDash Course List, which would show the old style, and LearnDash Course Grid, which is the newer version of the grid. And if we add this, you'll see it's a different type of layout. So this is what's called their version 2.0 of the course grid. And we've got a slightly different interface again, and a few different ways of showing how these courses are displayed. So we can change them from grids to masonry style to lists, and we've also again got control over the number of columns. So if we wanted to reduce that to 2 columns, for example, and make them bigger, we can do that. Make it 4 and make them smaller. Again, that's all possible. And you can set minimum widths and things like that. You've got a bit more control over the query and how many of them are shown, what they're ordered by. So it might be you want to order them by the title, and you can do that here. So that will put them into alphabetical order. I'll just change that to ascending. So now that is in alphabetical order. Again, you can filter by certain taxonomies. And there are some other styles that you can add here, and different colours. So they've really added quite a few new features to this new version 2.0 of the course grid. And if you are able to do that and upgrade and use that on your platform, then it's certainly a step up in terms of the aesthetic appeal of how these courses are shown. So if we now go to view the page, instead of this old one, now we've got a slightly newer look and feel here, and we can control and see what how many students and lessons and quizzes and things like that we've got in each of these. So I hope that clears things up for you. There is a course add-on page that goes through some of the more detailed information about what you can do, but essentially the thing that confuses a few people is that this new 2.0 came out, and there's a bit of confusion around whether you're using the old 1.0 or the 2.0, and hopefully what we did there in terms of adding the 2 different types of shortcode shows you that there are different ways of doing it, but ultimately what you probably want to be doing these days is using the LearnDash Course Grid, which you can do by just searching for LearnDash in Gutenberg here and choosing the course grid and not the course list. So I hope you found that useful. If you did, please give the video a like, and if you'd like to see more like this, please subscribe to the Training Spark YouTube channel.